My name is Akira, and I was born in a small town in Hokkaido. Growing up in this place among the snow-covered hills fed the silence inside you. I was introduced to silence at a very early age. My mother had left when I was only 3 years old, and my father was trying to support us by fishing. But he was always a little more bent from the burden of life. From an early age, I grew up with a sense of loneliness and lack. I remember one day, when I was 12 years old, I took a long look at the sky. Even at that age, the sky seemed like something very strange to me. It was infinite, but unreachable. That day, I asked my father, "Where is this sky going?" My father answered without hesitation as he mended the fishing net in his hand. "No, one knows, Akira. The sky is only for looking at." But that answer did not satisfy me. I had to understand the sky. I had to reach out to it. So for years, every night before going to bed, I sat by the window and watched the stars. The sky was telling me something, but I didn't understand what it was saying. By the time I was 20, I had gotten into Tokyo University. My father was proud of me, but it was like a silence that hid something. My father's health was failing. I could see it, but he didn't say anything to me. I always felt a sense of guilt. Had my father been too lonely while I was growing up? Life in Tokyo was far from the serenity of our town. Crowds, neon lights, people always trying to get somewhere. And yet the sky was the same here. One day I found an old book in the university library, a volume with nothing written on it. But when I opened it, I saw the title, The Sky Question. The book consisted of a philosopher's notes on the meaning of the stars and the search for the human soul. I read the book so deeply that I felt as if I had found the missing piece of my life. But one sentence in it really struck me. The sky is the mirror of the truth that man seeks, but it takes courage to reach it. That night I felt that my life was going to change. I started to cry as I looked up at the sky. For the first time, I felt that I wasn't alone. But I didn't know what would replace that feeling of loneliness. One day, a friend of mine at university invited me to a meeting. On the rooftop, a group of people were gathering to discuss different cultures and beliefs. That night, for the first time in my life, I met a Muslim. His name was Yusuf, an Indonesian student. He spoke quietly but deeply. When Yusuf told me about Islam, I was not interested at first, but I was fascinated by what he said about the sky. At that moment, he read me a verse. "It is he who created for you whatever is in the earth, then turned to the heavens and arranged them in 7 stories of heavens. He is the all-knowing." These words resonated in my soul. This connection between earth and sky made sense for the first time. Yusuf continued, "Akira, when you look at the sky, you see order, don't you? This order is the work of a creator. The sky and the earth exist to fill the emptiness in your heart." These words shook me deeply. I realized that the sky is not just a matter of looking. That night, when I looked at the stars, I gave them meaning for the first time. Joseph's story started a search inside me. Night after night, I was drowning in thoughts, not even knowing how to hide it from my father. One day, Joseph said to me, "If you believe that your heart has found a path, don't be afraid to walk on it. You will see where that courage will take you." I gathered that courage and decided to become a Muslim. When I made the Shahada, I felt a peace inside me that I had not felt for a long time. But this peace gave way to fear when I thought about how I would tell my father. One day I returned to our house in the village and told my father the truth. The silence of that moment was heavy, like the collapse of a mountain. My father said nothing for a long time. Finally, he looked at me and said only this, "I was trying to show you the stars. Why did you look for another sky?" At that moment, I realized that my father's silence had a deep meaning, like the silence of the sky. I felt I had lost him. My father passed away a year after that conversation. During that last year, the distance between us never closed. But a few days before he died, he said something unexpected to me. "Akira, when you look at the sky, say a prayer for me. Maybe one day we will meet under the same star." Those words were a ray of hope for me. Now every night when I look up at the sky, I think of my father. I believe that somewhere among those stars he is watching me. The sky is still the same sky, but now, when I look at that sky, I see not only the stars but also the signs of the Creator. My father's silence, Joseph's words, and the infinity of the sky brought me here. The sky was not an issue, it was a journey, and that journey still continues.